Robert Ferringo with Doc Sports here with Raphael Esparza for your college hoops handicapping extravaganza. Today we're breaking down Thursday's top college basketball action. For that, got to pay the bills. Go to docsports.com. Get signed up with Raphael or with myself with our college basketball, NBA. Got playoff football action, obviously, coming up this weekend. It was a good weekend for yours truly last week. We only have 3 weeks left of football, so we got to take advantage of that. Be sure to click the link above or below. Get $60 free to be used for any handicapper, any package in any sport at Doc Sports. So basically, you can get some free daily picks if you want to use your $60 for that, or weekly picks for college basketball, for example, is somewhere around $99. Well, now it's only $40. That's just 2 20s, and you get a week's worth of college basketball action. It really is a great deal. So, all right, Raphael, we're going to get it started Thursday night. Not in the SEC. We're not starting in the SEC for once. We're actually going to start out in the Big Ten. Best game of the night, Purdue at Indiana. Where do you see this line coming in, and what do you see when you look at this game?
Purdue will be the favorites. I would probably think around 5, maybe around that number. Purdue has owned IU as of late. 9 straight wins between them. I just think Purdue. I mean, Indiana's a nice story. I didn't think there'd be 13-4 right now. I think their record is. I thought they would struggle a little bit, but Purdue has looked really, really good, even though they won in overtime. But that loss against Wisconsin, they bounced back. Who were winning at Penn State, easy beating Nebraska. I just think they're finally realizing how to use their bench. I mean, I think at the beginning of the season when they were maybe struggling to cover games, they weren't trying to figure out how to use their bench play. How many guys were they going to play? 8, 9 guys, 7 guys when it comes to a crunch time. I think Purdue's just a better team here, and they're going to continue to own the Candyland striped pants that I have because my sister's an IU alum. I think Purdue wins easy.
There is no way that Purdue is going to be a 5-point favorite in this game. If they are, might be my game of the year on Indiana. I actually think, and you're going to think I'm crazy, think Indiana is going to open as a small favorite in this one. Maybe around -1.
You think so?
Somewhere around there. I do. I actually do. You mentioned the success that Purdue, it may be around a pick somewhere around there, and we'll see, and the books may just decide to let the money decide who's going to be the favorite, but I think it's going to be around there. You mentioned it. Purdue has beaten Indiana 9 straight times. 9 times. Well, Ferris Bueller there for you. Indiana hasn't won in the series since 2016. Purdue hasn't just won these games. They've dominated them. They're 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 in the series. Purdue coming off that overtime win in Illinois. Raphael, do you think Purdue has the goods to get back-to-back Big Ten road wins in 2 really tough venues? You think they go into Champaign and then they go into Freedom Hall and pick up back-to-back wins?
If they can control the boards, yes. It's all about controlling the boards in this one. If Purdue dominates the boards, I think they easily walk away with a W.
I don't know what it is about this Indiana team that I just can't quit them. I still think that they are really undervalued. I think they're better than they've played. And I think that this might be the spot where they get that marquee win that their resume has been calling out for. So, all right.
I thought that marquee win was Ohio. Wasn't that marquee win against Ohio State? And everyone was like,
it's not
and
looking
then they
as good now.
I know, but I'm just saying back then.
All over the map now. But this would be a big one for the Hoosiers. And I just have a feeling. I'm pot committed. I'm going to keep rolling the bones with Indiana. All right, next we're going up to the Pac-12. USC at Colorado. Now, before we talk about this game, Raphael, I have to ask you, who do you know that said last week in one of these videos that USC was the most overrated team in the country?
The audio guy in the background, Jeremy?
Come on, you can do it. That's right. They lose to Stanford. They're completely unimpressive against Oregon State. And then they lose at home to Oregon. I hit a 5-unit play on that on Saturday. I'm still kicking myself for not making that a bigger play, but that's how it goes. So you tell me, looking at this game, USC at Colorado, where do you see the number coming in, and who do you like?
Colorado will be the small favorite probably in this spot. And you just said, I think USC, I think the odds makers and the bettors are starting to realize, okay, maybe all those wins that USC piled up weren't really impressive wins against beating Long Beach State, Eastern Kentucky, teams like that. They lose to Stanford on the road. They lose to Oregon at home. I think that's the big key on this one. I like Colorado. I think the way that Colorado has played. They've been one of my surprise teams in the Pac-12. I just like the way they're going to be able to control the tempo at home. I like the Buffs. I think they're going to be the favorite in this spot.
Backing you up on that is the fact that Colorado has won 7 straight in this meetings. That a lot of people didn't know that Colorado has beaten USC 7 straight times, 6-1 against the spread in those 7 games. I'm actually going to disagree with you again here. I think USC will still open as a small road favorite, maybe 1.5 or 2. People saw them lose to Oregon, but Oregon also beat UCLA on the road last week also. So Oregon is playing well. That's not really a bad loss. I agree with you with Colorado. They've overachieved this year, and they've been kind of a surprise team. However, the problem is they only have 2 top 120 wins. That means they have only beaten 2 teams currently ranked in the KenPom top 120. And those 2 wins were Washington State and Stanford. Neither one of those are good wins. We haven't seen Colorado beat anyone of any note yet. They're a young team. They don't shoot particularly well from 3-point range. They're only hitting 32% of their shots from deep. I think it's going to be tough to pull an upset if you can't make the 3-point shot. I think USC will be a small favorite. I actually think that they're going to cover in this one.
But then Stanford beat USC, and you said that was a key win for them? I'm just saying, Stanford beat USC.
Stanford's not good. They're not. Stanford did beat USC.
I didn't say they were good.
But they are not a good team. That was more about USC being a little overrated. Now I think that the numbers coming back down to earth with them, and we'll find out. We'll find out if USC is even worse than I thought they were last week. If they can't snap a 7-game losing streak against Colorado, and we're going to find out about Colorado. Are they legit? Is the success that they've had up until this point real, or is it just come against a lot of bad competition? All right, one team that knows a lot about getting wins, like big blowout, ridiculous wins against bad competition, is Gonzaga. We have San Francisco at Gonzaga. San Francisco is probably the 3rd best team in the WCC. Pretty good team. Okay, they're 15-3 straight up this year, so they're not schlubs here. But Raphael, Gonzaga's last 3 games, the scores in those games: 117-83 over Pepperdine, 110-84 over BYU, and 115-83 over Santa Clara. Santa Clara is a top 90 team, according to KenPom. What would this number have to be, Raphael, for you to consider taking San Francisco in the points at Gonzaga?
I'm more worried about what this total is going to be because you just said it. Gonzaga in the last 5 games, they're averaging over 100 points. Not just the 3 games that you reeled off right now. I mean, Gonzaga's rolling now. They're the number 1 team. Is that a curse? I mean, can maybe San Fran, the Dons, not that many people who are watching probably realize that that's the name, the Dons of San Francisco. Could they pull off the upset? Probably not, because they lost at home to BYU their last game. This is going to be in the double digits. I think we both agree it's probably going to be anywhere between 15 to 18 points, maybe a little bit lower. The total, I don't know how high you can make this total for Gonzaga. Probably going to be no high 160s on this one. I'm excited to watch this game. I mean, I'm hoping odds makers make an error on this game because I'm really excited to see what the number of the side and total comes out.
I 100% agree with you on this one. I think the spread is going to be around 15 to 18. I had originally written it down as 16.5, but the odds makers are definitely going to tag on a little number 1 team in the country tag.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if this gets up to 19.5, somewhere around that. Gonzaga's beat 3 straight teams by 30-plus points. You mentioned the total number of points, around 200 for their last 3 games. So I feel like no matter how high they set the total in this one, it's not going to be high enough. Like I said, San Francisco's a good team. They beat Davidson. They beat UAB. Those are 2 very good mid-major teams. They also won at Arizona State. I know Arizona State stinks this year, but that's a good win for a WCC team to go on the road and beat the Sun Devils. But despite that, Gonzaga beat them 100-61 last year and 85-62 last year. So they won by 20-plus in both of the meetings last year. Gonzaga 6-2 against the spread in the series. And the Bulldogs are 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games. That's tough for a team like Gonzaga to do. Mark Few is one of those coaches. He 100% knows what the spread is in the game, and he is constantly trying to beat it. It's like the Saban factor in college football. He wants to beat those numbers. Whereas San Francisco, I mentioned, they're 15-3 straight up. They have some nice wins, but they're only 5-12 against the number this year. Been a little bit of an underachiever. Again, we agree on where the spread is going to be, Raphael, but what would the number have to be for you to say, yeah, I'd take San Francisco at that price? 24? 26?
Oh, it's gotta be in the 20 range. I mean, Gonzaga, in this huge winning streak, there are either 6 or 7 guys are averaging double digits in those games. So it's just ridiculous. And if Timmy has a game like he did against Santa Clara, I think he had, I could be wrong, 34 points against Santa Clara. If Timmy goes off, then maybe I'm going to need a 30 mark for the Dons for me to take a look at San Francisco, because
another thing too is it's time for Gonzaga to leave the WCC. Like this is just ridiculous. Like at the very least, join the Mountain West. There's still plenty of cupcakes for you to go out and beat by 30 points. You don't want to join the Pac-12, fine. But this is like kind of enough is enough. It's at some point like go join a real basketball league and play some big boy basketball. You wonder why you've never won a national title. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that your guys aren't prepared because they haven't played enough of those types of games, because you're beating teams by 30 points consistently through league play, that when you get to the Final Four, the Sweet 16, and you're in a 4-point game with 5 minutes to play, that your guys haven't been in those situations very much. So Gonzaga.
I'm gonna tell the kennel you said that. Next time I'm at the kennel, I'm gonna tell them that you said that.
Please do. It's ridiculous. Again, enough is enough. I get it, but 25 years of this stuff, like, step up, man. Step up. Even Butler moved up to the Big East eventually. Like, come on, get with it, Mark Few. All right, last game on the board. I know you're super excited about these mid-major games. I know you love them so much, and that's why we're going to talk about Belmont at Moorhead State. All right, Belmont had a huge game last week against Murray State. They had the Racers at home, and they got run out of the gym. They got beat by 22 points. Murray State shot out of its mind, won 82-60. Now Belmont is on the road for 4 straight games. They're playing against Moorhead State team. Now, we know about Belmont. We know about Murray State. But Moorhead State is actually the team that won the OVC conference tournament and represented this conference in the NCAA tournament last year. They swept Belmont last season. However, Belmont has had a lot of success in the series, going 6-2 against the spread in the last 8. Raphael, where do you have this number, and who are you siding with?
I don't know. I'm a toss-up in this one. I was just so disappointed in how bad they looked against Murray State. Granted, Murray State shot over 50% from the field and over 50% from three-point land. So I don't care who you were playing in that game. You're losing that game. I think Moorhead State will this one is a tough one for me to set a number at. Murray State probably should be, or I'm sorry, Moorhead State should be the favorite on here. But Belmont, if you just look at, they just have a tougher schedule. They play tougher teams. That win against SLU, going to the Billiken land and winning that game is still a very impressive in my eyes. This one's a hard one for me. I'm going to cheer for Moorhead State, but would not shock me if Belmont, not the racetrack, but Belmont win this game on the road to rebound from that horrible loss. I mean, I know they rebounded their last game, but a horrible showing of last weekend against Murray State.
Yeah, I have this number. I think Belmont's going to be a small favorite, 3.5, 4 points. I do think that they're the better team. I think they have the more impressive resume in this game. That's going to make Moorhead an attractive home underdog because of that recent success they've had. And again, this team won 23 games last year, won the league, swept Belmont. However, I like the Bruins in this one. I still think Belmont is the best team in this conference, and I think that that's going to come to bear over the next couple of months. One thing to note, the winner in this series has covered the spread 8 straight times. So if you like Moorhead State, don't take Moorhead State because you think they can stay within the 3 or 4 points. If you take Moorhead State, take them to win, because the winner of this game usually is the team that also covers the spread. So, all right, Raphael, Thursday, free play. What do you got for me? Give me some good stuff.
This one might be one of my pay plays, just because I'm just excited to watch Gonzaga use San Francisco, and I just want to see points scored. Can they put up another century mark at home? If the total is in the 165 or lower, you have to take a shot at the over in the Gonzaga San Francisco. They're just offense. Like I said, in the last 5 games, averaging over 100 points. Timmy is going crazy. They're getting great bench play. Their point guard. Their backcourt is starting to play a lot better now than when they struggled in the beginning of the season. I just think they were trying to replace some stars that left last year. Their backcourt is playing so much better. I think that's why Timmy is having better games. If you can get the total 165 or lower, you have to take a shot at the over. And again, if this is my pay play, sorry guys, but I'm just really, really excited to watch this. When this one flies over, Gonzaga may hit the 100 mark like they did last meeting they played San Francisco.
All right, my free play is also one of the games we talked about. I like USC. I know I ragged on them all last week. Talked about how overrated. I am 100% correct that they were the most overrated team in the country. They were not. They should never have been the number 5 team in the country. That said, I really am still not buying Colorado. Like I said, they don't have a win over a top 80 team yet this year. That win over Washington State is their best win. That was at home. It was only by 5 points. I have no faith in this team. USC, they're fine in their range. They weren't the 5th best team in the country. Maybe they're the 18th or the 20th best team in the country, and I feel like that's going to be good enough. I also just have a hard time seeing them losing 8 straight to the Buffs. Colorado's had some really good teams the past 3 or 4 years. They have lost guys to the NBA. They have lost guys to graduation. This is a really young team. They've overachieved to this point, but I think they're going to come back to reality. I like USC to win and win relatively comfortably on the road, maybe an 8 or 9 point win in that one. All right, he's Raphael Esparza. I'm Robert Ferringo. You can find us at docsports.com. Until next time, carpe diem. Good luck.